welcome to Studio 73 in downtown Boston for this edition of InsideHockey.tv. Alongside Kevin Greenstein, I'm your host, Mackenzie Lavoie. Well, our topic of today is trade rumors among the NHL. Now, the biggest one is the Erik Cole being rumored to get out of Edmonton. Now, he has a 3-year, $12 million contract at $4 million a year. Now, he is obviously a U.S.-born player in a major Canadian market. He played in Carolina, which isn't really a big hockey.
Right.
It's more NASCAR, college football. All of a sudden, he goes to Edmonton. He's thrust into this NL revolving city, you know, NHL Network, Hockey Night in Canada, the big time. Now they're thinking of sending one of the U.S.'s fastest and most skilled players back to the United States, either with the Bruins or with the Penguins at the moment. Now, what are your thoughts on him coming back?
Well, I think that he would certainly be a very positive addition for the Boston Bruins. There's no question about it. Erik Cole's big, he's fast, he would certainly fit in well with this team. And I think, you know, he used to play with Aaron Ward. They played together for the Carolina Hurricanes Cup-winning team in 2006. So I think that there's some history there that I think would also lend itself well. Erik Cole would fit very nicely on the Bruins. But to me, the team that he would fit best on would be the Penguins. I mean, Sidney Crosby has been struggling to find chemistry with a winger. And part of the problem is that he's not only a very talented player who sees the ice ahead of everybody else, but he needs wingers who are fast and can also see the ice well. And Erik Cole brings both of those things to the table. He also brings a little bit of a physical edge. And that's something that Crosby could use help with as well. So big, fast, talented winger. Sounds like a perfect fit next to Sidney Crosby. And for the Penguins, you know, they were willing to give up a lot of money to pay Marian Hossa, $7.5 million a year. So I think that they can figure out a way to budget Erik Cole into their lineup, and I think that that would be a good move for them.
Well, it's the last year on his contract. One of the big things we hear about Erik Cole is that he is very injury prone. Now, he had that almost fatal neck injury. The year they won the Stanley Cup, he came back in the playoffs, actually against Edmonton, to come through and be a major impact on that team. But it was Pittsburgh Penguins defenseman Brooks Orpik that delivered that hit to him that almost ended his career overall. Now, you look at him going back to that team, and then you see, you know, the Penguins on paper, no one's a better team. You know, they've got so many all-stars. Him as an addition would just be outstanding. Now, how it's going to come into effect with him playing on the same team as Orpik, because they fought each other last year. They're not really big fans of each other. How do you think that's going to come in? Well,
you know, one possibility is that Orpik might be part of what goes in the other direction in that trade, right? So there's a possibility that the two players could be traded for each other. But make no mistake, this is Sidney Crosby's team. It's not Brooks Orpik's team. And if Erik Cole is going to be the catalyst to help Sidney Crosby make the Penguins a better team, Brooks Orpik is going to do everything that he needs to do to make sure that Erik Cole feels comfortable in that locker room.
And safe, yeah. Now, he got re-injured last year, taken off the ice in a stretcher when he was in Carolina again. Now, how do you think that injury plays into him? He's 30 years old, he's coming into a new team, and he does have a history of injuries.
Cole definitely has an injury history, but I mean, I think that there's a lot of risk with every player on the ice. I mean, you know, the Bruins, you know, saw it when Marian Hossa came to town with the Penguins. His first game here, went out with a knee injury and didn't play again in the regular season. So Marian Hossa, with the Penguins last year, they went through that, and Hossa was presumably a healthy player. So with Cole, the injuries are a concern, but I don't think it's going to be an overriding factor in a team deciding not to acquire him, because ultimately Erik Cole is a winner, he's a gamer, and he's the kind of guy who's going to be able to push a good team over the top. And that's what the Penguins are going to be looking at, that's what the Bruins are going to be looking at. I think Erik Cole would be a good fit in either place. I just think that Crosby is going to be the tipping point for where Cole ends up, and I think it's going to be Pittsburgh.
Now, when the Bruins brought in Michael Ryder, they brought in a former Montreal Canadian, and the big thing was the original Six rivalry. Now, we have a former U.S. Olympian coming into a U.S. major market team. Now, how do you think that's going to play out in a big hockey city like either Boston or Pittsburgh?
Well, you know, I think that the opportunity to market Erik Cole is passing, and it's a shame because he's a really good player to build a marketing campaign around. And if he lands in Pittsburgh or Boston, I think either team is very well positioned to make a star of him. So it'll be interesting to see whether one of those teams gets him, but I think that that will make a big difference in his exposure level.
Now, as a forward coming in, playing on a line with Marc Savard or Michael Ryder or Blake Wheeler or Patrice Bergeron, there are so many stars in him for Boston to go to, but it still looks like Pittsburgh overall with Sidney Crosby is going to be the major market for him to set up in.
Well, I just think that the Penguins are going to be aggressive going after a solution for Crosby, and Cole seems to me to be one of the best possible solutions out there. Whether he goes there or not, obviously the chips can fall in a lot of different directions. But to me, Cole makes more sense in Pittsburgh than he does anywhere else.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on this edition of InsideHockey.tv at Studio 73 in downtown Boston. We hope to see you back here next time.